Hey y'all, let's get this over with, shall we? This is my review for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City Season 3 reunion, both parts. Now, I finally have some F's to give to do this, but I'm going to give them a half-baked review because they gave us a half-baked season. You see how that works? But I guarantee you that a half-baked review of mine is more entertaining than this reunion. So let's get into it. So we see they film the reunion in New York. We get the usual behind the scenes. We see them getting ready, chatting it up with Andy. I do think it was creative for them to arrive to the reunion set on a Sprinter. Like, it looks like they actually drove the Sprinter on set to let the ladies out. It's only 4 of them, and of course we're missing the felon Jen Shaw. Andy addresses it and says that Jen was invited to the reunion, but her sentencing was coming up, so her legal team advised her not to appear. I'm sure she probably would have got more time had she been on the reunion, but because her narcissist ass isn't on here, it makes it less interesting to watch. She was the nucleus of the season whether you liked it or not, and I bet you if she appeared, this would have been a 3-part reunion. Hell, I thought it was a 3-part reunion until Alex told me it wasn't. I'm thinking that behind the scenes, they was going to use part 3 to interview Jen separately, and I think all that fell through, maybe because she wanted more money, or she didn't want certain questions asked of her. Either way, it don't matter because her ass is behind bars as I'm filming this. So then Andy asked the cast, what do they all think after hearing that Jen pleaded guilty? After proclaiming her innocence the entire damn season. It seems like Heather, she said that she was more so disappointed. Probably not because she did the crime, but she just feels bad for Jen. Meredith says she was shocked. And I'm like, really? You've been on 3 seasons with this woman and you're really shocked that she lied to y'all? What really frustrates me is that Meredith is smarter than that. And I'm just so confused how she would align herself with Jen Shaw. So the first topic they start to discuss is Meredith versus Lisa, which went on all season, almost as long as Whitney versus Heather. Meredith is saying that the reason why she's mad at Lisa has nothing to do with her hot mic moment. It has something to do with, she was on social media and it came to like her father's passing. She said that Lisa wasn't there for her, and I think Lisa posted a text message regarding her father, and this was a trigger for her. So she said, oh wow, she does this, she doesn't really care about my friendship. They then get to the Lisa rumors that were talked about, and they're fighting over who said what first. So the first rumor was she was giving blowjobs for jazz tickets. The next one was that she was giving sexual favors for Vita Tequila. Now, from what I remember from the beginning of the season, Meredith was the one that was going around all willy-nilly spreading it. Like, oh, well, I'm hearing that she's giving favors for Vita Tequila. But then she lies and says she brought it up as concern for Lisa. Okay. And then when Meredith brought this rumor to Whitney put her own rumor on top of that, saying that, oh, well, I heard she does this for jazz tickets. And then Whitney tells Lisa that they were talking about it so she can wipe her hands clean of it. But what I'm confused by is why was Lisa not mad at Whitney? She was actually glad that she came to her and said, oh, we're talking about you. Here's the rumor. They then get to Lisa's pill-popping accusation about Meredith. So allegedly, Jen told Lisa that her and Meredith was taking shrooms and Special K. Haven't done either. I've heard some things though. Meredith, of course, denies this, and she actually calls Jen on speakerphone to refute this. She's like, Jen, did you tell Lisa this rumor about me popping pills? Like, what did you expect Jen to say? Yes, Meredith? Like, she's gonna lie. And I agree with Lisa. Like, what merit does Jen have? And side note, I'm actually surprised Jen answered the phone, being as she's supposed to be there. But yeah, Lisa tells Meredith, I can't believe you're taking the word of someone going to jail over me. And she has a point. So after this entire back and forth, Andy then asks the ladies, where do they go from here? Is the friendship salvageable? Do y'all still want to be friends? Now, I think, of course, they're not going to say no, because then that affects the season going forward. Like, if they're not friends, they can't film with each other. And I'm sure both of these ladies still want to be on the show. So then they just leave it open. Well, I'm sad that we got here, but I just want to get to a point where we're cordial. Lord, and here go Lisa crying with no tears. I just can't believe you brought Sean into this. Like, she's just blinking really fast and hard. Like, there's no tears coming out. So now we're at the next segment where they're bringing the friends of on the couch, Angie H, Angie K, and Dana. And not them showing the deleted footage of Dana going off on Jen about putting money on her books. This was actually the final nail in the coffin for me being done with this show when they took that scene out. She's saying why she went off on Jen, but I'm just like, why should we care? Like, they didn't even show it on the season, so why are we addressing it now? Like, can they address why they took the scene out? That's the information that I want to know. But apparently Jen was making fun of where she lived. I guess she lives outside Salt Lake City, and she was talking about her husband's name. It's now Angie H's turn in the hot seat, and Andy's asking her about the rumor that allegedly she brought up about like the jazz tickets and shit like that. Again, I don't care, because it's just he said, she said. We're never gonna find out the truth. Of course she denied it. Moving on. So now it's Angie K's turn. They're talking about the trip and how Jen poured champagne on top of her head. Like, it's just crazy how Heather and Meredith are still kind of like caping for Jen in this moment, like giving her grace. And of course this pisses off Angie K, and I would be too. Angie's kind of coming for Meredith, and I will say that little cubicle read she said you need some people skills. That was funny. Meredith claps back by saying, I wasn't the one trying to get on this show for 3 years. Angie then tries to respond by saying some behind the scenes tea, but then Andy doesn't like what he's hearing, so he's like, okay, we're moving on. Again, another moment where I'd rather hear this information. How did Angie K get on the show? Who does she know? I'll say out of all the friends of, I would bring Angie K back. Like, I think she kind of fits on the cast, but who knows when season 4 is coming back. So then they're talking about when Angie came in and ran to Lisa after hearing Heather, Meredith, and Jen talking about her. And he was asking, why did you bring that up to Lisa? Because you know you was starting shit, right? And he didn't say it like that, but that's how he meant it. Again, another situation where Jen is at the bottom of it, and she's not here. Honestly, the only thing I got out of hearing this conversation is how Heather continues to sound like a spineless coward with Stockholm Syndrome whenever it's time to hold Jen accountable. Lord, so now we're on the black eye topic, and y'all know my fucks are slim for this, but I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. I still can't believe that this was a plot line to begin with, and I wonder how many times is she gonna change the story? Because she said 3 different things on the show, and now she's saying she just don't remember. Of course, Andy calls her out on this, and I'm with Lisa. Why didn't you just tell the truth the first time? You know, they had to open an investigation. They had to interview the cast. I think interview production. I think they had attorneys involved. Like, why didn't you just say you were blacked out drunk in the first place? Just lying. But then again, you know, birds of a feather, you know, her being around Jen, and I do mean birds. And not Heather crying because she's backed into a corner with her lies. I'm dealing with Mormon shame. Girl, save it. Save it. So then Andy asked her, why was Jen the first person you called when this happened? And also, you know, y'all trying to make a cover-up story for it. And the more I hear Heather answer these questions, my respect just gets lower and lower for her. Like I said in the last video, I haven't seen a housewife in good standing that was the fan favorite to then going down in flames since Leah from Real Housewives of New York. You're just a lackey, you make terrible decisions, you're a liar, and you align yourself with Jen fucking Shaw, a felon that's in prison for 6 years now. Congratulations, clown. Hearing this now, I absolutely think Jen did it, and she's covering up for her. Like, I don't think it was her beauty lab where they said that she got an injection and then it slowly turned into a black eye. Nope, because what would explain the scratches? Like, it looked like she got into a fight. I also forgot to mention that Andy said on his show this past week that he too thinks that Jen gave Heather the black eye. So you ain't fooling nobody, Heather. We're now near the end of part 1, and Andy's going around the room asking the ladies how they think that Heather got the black eye. And low-key, most of the women, they think Jen gave it to her. And then Andy calls out Angie K for implying on her social media that Heather and Jen were doing some sexual activities and it got a little rough. That's how she actually got the black eye. And as she's explaining that, they leave it on a cliffhanger, and that is where the episode ends. Honestly, they could have just ended the reunion right there. I don't care about anything else going forward, but we'll get to part 2. What I think they should have did was just have one part of the reunion and just make it a supersized episode. Have it an hour and a half, we're done. But yeah, let's get to part 2. As y'all can see, some time has passed by. I had to film the panel right quick, and my fucks are still low for this review. But let's continue. So they continue the conversation about Heather's black eye, and Andy's asking Angie K, like, why does she think that Jen and Heather have a sexual relationship? Now, she actually said this on the show. Like, I thought she said it on social media, but that's what she implied. She called it Barbie scissor kicks. I've never heard of that. But Angie said she never thought this about Jen and Heather. It was just brought to her attention. And honestly, like, during the trip when they were drunk, like, they were kind of all over each other. Oh, Lord. So Andy asked her, as a person that wakes up with a black eye and scratches, like, you just really don't want to know what happened? And she turns on the fake waterworks again. Well, I'm so embarrassed and ashamed, like being drunk. Like, I just think I deserved it. She really needs some therapy. I hope she's seeing somebody. And they're just gonna leave it at that. Like, we still don't know what happened to her black eye, and that means they wasted our fucking time. Like, they made a whole plot line out of this. They spent 15 to 20 minutes talking about it on this reunion. And then, just like that, they dismissed the friends of from the stage. So now it's just going to be the four ladies, and I think they're bringing out the husbands later, for some strange reason. Oh, Lord. So the next topic is Whitney and her healing journey from whatever journey that is, from whatever happened to her, because she still hasn't said exactly what happened. Let's see if we find this out. I feel like we're not going to get any answers with this either. And before y'all attack me, I'm not disregarding what she went through. It's just like, if you're going to talk about it, talk about it. The face Heather is making while Whitney's explaining it, she's like, I mean, that's how I'm feeling too. I'm like, what are you talking about? What happened? You unlocking memories. Whitney says she's upset that the viewers, as well as some of her cast members, are questioning her on her experience. And when I hear this, I'm like, well, thank God I'm not the only one, because it was veiled. She wasn't given like any type of details. It wasn't transparent at all. And Andy still has not asked her what happened to her. Like, yes, abuse, but what? Who? And I'm sorry, y'all, when they get to the Whitney versus Heather segment, I'm fast forwarding because we're dealing with that on the next installment of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, so I'm not about to waste my time watching them going back and forth. All right, so Andy doesn't ask her the question. He just tells her, I'm sorry, and then he moves on to Whitney versus Heather. Bad weather. And here go the split screen. They're going back and forth. I don't care. Fast forward. This all started with rumors about somebody else that they both hated. And now she's friends with that person that they both talked about. So this is a really good question for Heather. It's like she's beefing with Whitney right now, but you're literally friends with a felon who has like abused you emotionally and verbally. Yet you forgive her all the time, but you can't forgive your cousin, your good girl, like the person that you trust. Like, that's what I don't get. But Heather's response to that is she holds Whitney to a different standard. And I call bullshit. And that being said about Heather, like with Whitney, the way she easily just went to Lisa, like Lisa did not respect her season 1. I remember that. Like, they did not like each other, and now, like, they're besties? This group dynamic has just changed so much, because I remember when Whitney and Heather used to talk about Lisa like a dog. So, again, Whitney is pointing out to Heather how she holds Jen to a different standard, and in the flashback, all Jen did, her best friend, was rag on Heather to Whitney and Lisa. But she's still making excuses for it. I just want Heather to love herself. Like, she is enough. She needs to like start writing shit in her mirror or something, because the way she rides for Jen is just so toxic and concerning. More Whitney and Heather split screen, fast forward. So they're playing clips from BravoCon of them going at it at the panel. And y'all, that panel, I was there for that. It was better than this reunion. Like, it might as well been the reunion. And this is when people still liked Heather. They didn't see the rest of the season. Now, if BravoCon was after this season, Heather would have got a totally different reaction from the audience. Again, here goes Heather protecting Jen. It makes you look like a fool, girl. Like, she's the main one that's not your friend. I don't get it. Even at this point, she probably already have her calendar set for when she's gonna visit Jen in prison. Heather's now giving excuses for her behavior this season, and just like her book, I'm not buying it. And speaking of her book, she starts talking about it. Fast forward. So again, Andy asks, so where do we go from here? Like, do you guys want to be friends? And Whitney says that it seems like you don't want nothing to do with me. And then Heather says, well, I don't know. They're thinking about next season because they're going to have to interact with each other. I'm sure they want to still be on the show. So, of course, they're going to say, oh, well, I'm thinking about it, or I don't know. As opposed to, I don't want to see this bitch ever again. So they leave the topic at that, and now the next segment, they're bringing the husbands out for some strange reason. It's Whitney, Lisa, and Meredith's husbands. I'm not sure what can they bring to this conversation. Did Whitney's husband get new teeth? Lord, they look like chiclets. Oh my God, Meredith's husband and this hairstyle he has. It's like a flipped mullet. Yeah, a lot of these topics they talking about, I don't really care. Okay, Whitney's husband, he got a new job. Okay, congratulations, white man. Okay, now we're focusing on Meredith and Lisa's husbands, how their wives are fighting and it affects their friendship. I also don't care about that. Y'all, they are wasting our time with this. I do not care. And we're only halfway through this reunion. And that's the end of the husband segment. So I'm really curious what's next. I'm guessing they're going to talk about, Jen going to jail. I think that's it. Yep, exactly. The top of the segment. After claiming innocence over the past year, yep, they're all going to talk about Jen. They're now playing every scene where Jen says she was innocent. Girl, Meredith, are you for real? She's like, innocent, guilty. She's still a human being. I'm going to root for the underdog. I'm just really speechless. Like, she was against this woman season 2. Like, she was like, I don't even want to be filming with her. To now, like, just supporting her. Ooh, she is backpedaling and pussy popping. Now she's trying to say, oh, well, I heard Jen made an attempt on her life, and that's what made, I don't play with that. I mean, I get that, but you said what you said before that. They really have her backed into a corner about her flip-flopping with Jen. She's just like, I don't care what you think about my justification. Damn, Andy and Lisa are really tag teaming Meredith right now on this. Andy's like, so you really have nothing to say. She pled guilty and is facing 10 years. And you're monotone about this. Well, Andy, yes, I changed my opinion. Garbage. Meredith, I'm so disappointed in you. They are both still going in on Meredith, and this is the most entertaining this reunion has been. Wow, so Meredith dropped some tea I think even Andy didn't know. She said the seal indictment for Jen was the same day that he announced the show at BravoCon. That was a long time ago, so she knew she was doing all this. That's a narcissist for you. So the next topic is basically, did Jen's husband know what she was doing? And Andy said it was a rumor that Jen pled guilty so her husband wouldn't be implicated in it. Whitney and Lisa seem to think Coach Shaw knew something. I mean, I agree, and Lisa brought up a good point. They have to file taxes together. So Heather's now talking about how expensive it was for Jen to cover her legal fees, and she actually asked friends to help her out. And somebody there actually helped her, and it was Angie H. out of everybody. That is crazy on both parts, for Jen to ask and for Angie H to give her money. I gotta say, the most interesting segment of this two-part reunion has been like the latter half of the last part where they're talking about Jen and she's not even there. So they end this topic with Heather saying she still supports Jen and, she's gone this far with her, why drop her now? She pled guilty, she's going to jail, she's going to have to pay a $15 million restitution. Her being mean to her would just be virtue signaling. So, yeah, she prefers to be a clown. All right, so can we wrap this up? We got 5 more minutes of this left. I really don't think there's anything else to talk about. So the shitty reunion is finally winding down. Andy's saying his closing remarks. Heather is emotional because I think she got it at this reunion. Like, she knows how she looks. She knows how she came off. Like, the audience used to love her. And now, I can't say they do now. Like, she got a standing ovation at BravoCon. Like, for the love they have for her. And this season, very disappointing. Girl, Heather, if it's so hard, get off the show. Get off the show then. She'll be right back next season. So Andy's asking all the ladies, what is their biggest regret looking back at the season? Heather says she wished she just would have went straight to sleep the night that she got the black eye. She says she's in therapy, but look, it's clearly not working. Whitney's regret is also not being sober when she was talking about the rumors regarding Lisa. Meredith is boring. She said her biggest regret is not being clear about her words. Whatever. Lisa gives a very Lisa answer. She says she wouldn't call it regret, but she wished she established more boundaries with Jen. So after that, they bring the champagne out. Andy gives a toast to the season. He just told them that they delivered a really enjoyable season. For who? Just lying. All right, and that's where the episode ends. I think they bring out a cake for Meredith and Lisa because it's their birthdays on the same day. They blow out the candle at the same time. We'll see next season if they rekindle their friendship or not. I don't even know if I'm going to be reviewing next season. I would give this season a D. I would give the reunion a D as well. If they bring this season back, I mean, I don't know. I heard that they're bringing Mary, so if they bring Mary back, I guess more people will watch, so then I'll have like an incentive to review it. But y'all let me know what y'all thought about the season as a whole, as well as this reunion. I'm sorry it came out so late after it was done, but again, my fucks were low. So with that, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.